Uh, My name is Greg Meekins. I live 3621 Spring Garden Street since '98. I'm Philly born and bred. I'm a Penn Stater, so the rest of y'all is okay. And I'm a Vietnam vet, and I'm retired, and at the time I'm working with veterans down at the Veteran Center at 4th and Arch, teaching them how to get their computer skills up to date and look for jobs on the internet.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm Julie Hawkins. I've actually live in East Falls and have worked at Drexel this is the start of my 3rd year, so I'm still brand new to West Philadelphia as far as I'm concerned, and didn't grow up in Philadelphia, so it's all kind of new to me. And I should apologize to all of you up front because I'm actually leaving early tonight. And I should also let you know that one more member of our research team who you might have met on the way in, Laura, will be coming in at some point as well. She's out front right now to greet anybody else who comes, but don't want you to be surprised when she walks in the door. So.
My turn?
Yeah.
My name's John Phillips. I live at 3503 Baring Street. I've been living there since '95, so it's quite a while, I guess 20 years. Lived out your neighborhood before that for another 15 or so years. I'm a sound and video artist. I work a lot with my wife, Carolyn Healy, Mark, I don't recognize you without your running gear on, by the way. I see you come by my neighborhood and I said, that's Mark. And she and I do installations together a lot in areas, including one in this area 2 years ago.
Yes.
I guess it was, that Mark was involved with. And I'm an adjunct professor at University Arts where I teach in the film and video department.
Great, welcome.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I'm also part of the Pelton Village Civic Association, which is why I got invited.
Yeah, which is how I connected with you.
Okay. My name is Ruby Beckett, and I've been in the West Philadelphia neighborhood for over 50 years. And program director for Little Filmmakers.
So you know Andy Jenkins.
Jenkins, yeah.
He's my neighbor
Oh,
and a good
okay.
friend.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm Janine Spurl. I pretty much grew up around here. I run an arts organization called Little Filmmakers. We're based out of West Philadelphia. Arts organization, Little Filmmaker, we teach kids how to make movies. I'm like tired or something, I'm sorry. I'm like, what am I saying? Yeah, so we teach young people how to write, direct, shoot, edit, market their own films. So we've been doing that since 1999, and we started it out of, I still operate out of my home. So we still operate out of my home, but we're all over the city as far as servicing kids, and typically we try to primarily focus on, I guess you could say, communities that lack resources in digital media. So that's where our focus. We started it in West Philadelphia, but apparently there's other parts of Philadelphia that's lacking digital media as well.
So, if we could describe this neighborhood, and we can say that this neighborhood is Powelton and Mantua and West Powelton. We could name the boundaries however we want. But what are some words that we could use, some descriptive words that we could use to talk about this neighborhood, just to get this kind of flowing a little bit?
Community.
Okay, I'm going to write these down on the board. Community.
Multicultural. Fragmented.
Primarily residential, though, that comes and goes.
I want to say renovation. I can't think of another word.
Something coming. That's what I was.
Yeah, like
development.
like new development.
Housing,
Yeah.
and it's like what you call. It's a rebirth.
Yeah, that's a good word.
It's like a rebirth.
Come on, Drexel, speak up.
Yeah,
That's right, it's got a university. Or two.
University.
Yeah.
Museums, you know, you're surrounded by the zoo. Historical. Schuylkill. Agata.
Socioeconomic diversity.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, that's
There you
definitely
go.
Fancy words.
Alright.
Good job on
I mean, you have the biggest homes
No, it's
and
true though.
Yeah, those the mansions, that's why I was starting to see different
Yeah.
things, you know. Like on Girard Avenue.
green aspects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always been that way, gardens. You know,
Especially when
that's-
they tore down those dilapidated buildings and turned them into like the
gardens,
fields
yeah.
and gardens
Mhm.
and planted trees. So, yeah.
This area also has some of the highest density of, artists.
That's what I was saying,
Yeah, I was
artistic.
thinking-
We was
Not,
on
not
the
that there
same-
are opportunities necessarily
Right.
for them,
It's
but
really artistic community when you look around, Baltimore Avenue, you know, the cafe.
artist rich.
Yeah. Mm.
Artists.
Mhm.
No, like
Not
hyphen.
art, yeah, right. Not
Artist.
rich artists.
Yeah.
Right. Artist hyphen rich.
Hi, welcome. Come on in. We're just getting started.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Mary.
Terrence.
Hi, Mary and
Hi there.
Terrence.
Terrence,
Terrence,
come
please
sit-
join us if
I
you don't
won't-
mind.
I won't hurt you.
Please,
I promise.
I'm fragile.
Mary and Terrence, I'm Andrew, and this is Julie. We're both professors at Drexel in the Arts Administration program, and Rachel is one of our students, and Laura is another student from Drexel. We're a small enough group, we could just go around and quickly say our names again. So if you wouldn't mind, Mark, starting off.
You just want my name?
Just your name, yeah.
Alright, that's Mark. Terrence.
Rachel.
Gregory.
Julie.
John.
Ruby.
I'm Janine.
All right, well, welcome. Thanks for coming. We were just putting some words up on the board that describe the neighborhood, and this is as far as we've gotten, although I think got a lot of big concepts up on the wall. Anything that's missing?
I have to say it's friendly too. I mean, I just, you know, everybody's, I don't know about other neighborhoods in Philadelphia, but I've enjoyed that people say hello on the streets in the morning and, you know, walk the dog and say hi or.
Helpful. Is helpful up there?
No, not yet.
I would say look out for you also.
They'll look out for, people will look out for you?
Yes.
That would come under helpful also.
Great, I think this is a good start. So with all these things up here, what do we want to talk about first?
The community itself.
Okay, in what way?
What type of community?
What type of community
This
do we
is
have? Do
all
we have
descriptive.
a fragmented community? Do we have
We're
a...
connected to all of this, you know,
Yeah.
that could have been in the center and all this. is
Right.
an
So this is our
extension.
theme.
Yeah, right there, and all of those are the extension of what we are.
Well, when you say talk about them in any particular context,
Well, so, I mean, to expound upon what we mean by something like fragmented or helpful or diversity, what are the sort of, educate me about what we mean by some of these concepts. You know, we were talking about green, and green, you were saying that when buildings were torn down that were dilapidated, it was replaced with green.
Gardens.
So is vacancy or and we sort of talked about new development too. So, hello, welcome. Come on and have a seat.
Do you know each other?
No, never seen me a day in my life.
She can't make my child.
I did.
I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. I'm Ramona.
Hi, Ramona. We're just talking about things that we know about the neighborhood and trying to get into some more depth and detail describing them. So I guess is that dilapidation or vacancy or things that led to new development, is that still an issue? Or is progress happening? What's the sort of story there?
I think progress is happening. Well, I guess, because growing up here, when I was a kid, I remember seeing a lot of vacant and abandoned buildings. And now, I'm 25. And all the buildings have been torn down, replaced with more expensive homes.
Okay.
So for me, that's, some kind of growth or something, I don't know.
Right. So we started out a community, and then we got a little, not lackadaisical, that's a bad word, but hard times comes on in certain neighborhoods.
Yeah.
This neighborhood, like I come from North Philly originally, and just to say, around the Temple area, okay, my family had to sell out because Temple came through and bought up everything. Okay, we didn't have the money to put back into the house, so we sold out, went to Germantown. Now you come back there now, and I've asked a few friends that were able to leave the project there and go into the houses that was available, but they said Temple did nothing but come through and buy up. They sprung up everything around that area, and you see the way Temple is spreading out, but yet they've done nothing to put in the community they came and swallowed up. I'm wondering if Drexel and Penn are going to do the same thing here.
Is that same dynamic happening in this neighborhood?
It seems like it from the prices of the houses that's
the prices
going sky high.
Yeah, I think it's different in that Drexel is not buying necessarily houses. Private developers are buying them. And the dynamic in Mantua, certainly now, as I understand it from going to some of your community meetings in our neighborhood, south of that, is that it's the transition from people like some of us who have lived here a long time that have to sell out because the houses are, people are being offered a lot of money for a single family home, and then they're being turned into either legal or illegal student housing. And that's a huge pressure on all kinds of resources and time and social interactions in this area. So it's ongoing, and it's part of the development and change. But Drexel's president is interested in keeping the houses. I don't think they're going to be buying them, and like they did in Temple, which was really pretty horrendous, my understanding.
So what other concepts emerge from here? We have development, which has mixed characteristics in terms of our thoughts. Anything else on the list that pops up as being useful to talk a little bit more about?
Well, the zoo is expanding also.
So what does the zoo mean to this neighborhood? Is it an asset that people use? Is it something that's for the neighborhoods?
It's expensive. I mean, it's not like you
Not like
have a family of 4 and you trying to take them to the zoo. You
Over
can't afford
$100.
it.
We
You
can't
have to go in shifts. Man, you go today and y'all two go next week.
Yeah,
or next
ID
month.
now, so it's really not convenient to the neighborhood where it was like every other weekend. My children, I walked over there and took them to the zoo and let them run free. That was having lunch and just go have free was easy to go. Now it's very expensive.
Take out a loan just to get
Yeah,
it.
my grandkids, you see it once a year maybe.
And they say just to ride up on that hot air balloon, it costs $65.
That sounds like a lot. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's really,
It costs another $65 to get back.
and don't forget the doctor bill.
And then with the parking area, okay, they built their own parking.
Parking garage.
Yes, but they still use the one over
On Gerard Avenue.
on Girard Avenue, the one down in the park. So they still have everything sold up.
Soda, yeah. This is where you hemmed up in the neighborhood. It's beautiful. It's developing.
The zoo has a program online where you can go on for low-income families to get passes or something, but it doesn't work right.
Oh, yeah.
So someone helped me do that for a teen mom to get tickets for her son, but if I didn't have that phone call to be able to make, or the teen mom, it wouldn't have been able to be done. I think the thing is, having grown up here, the zoo didn't really interact with the community. It was there. It's a landmark. It's like how you tell people where you live.
Yeah.
5 minutes from the zoo.
5 minutes, yeah.
That's basically it. So it's not really a partnership with the community, even with the zoo, the Please Touch Museum, or the Man Museum.
Yeah.
So we kind of sort of
Art museum.
now live in Centennial District.
Yes.
Yes.
What does that mean to us? In the middle of all this beautification, it's more commercial than it is residential. And like even when
Laura.
the
Laura, do you want to answer that just in case it's the food?
the
Sorry to
museum
interrupt you.
came in, they came in as a partner to the community,
This is Laura, but yes.
but it was kind of like
She's in the focus group.
you vote with us, you give us what we need, and we'll give you this. But
Okay. I
after
will
we
be
get
very
in here,
upfront.
the landscaping of even that changed, you know. And I came in as an employee from downtown with the museum.
Okay.
So I'm not speaking from something I heard, you know. I was the face that was put out in the neighborhood, you know. So I am a little something about that, because I felt used to bring my people into something that later on, perfect example, if you come to so many parenting classes, you get a free membership. You would get a lifetime membership. So that's what I did, and we partnered with the Earn Center. Well, somewhere in the middle of 2 or 3 years later, I had parents walking up to me in the neighborhood that I still live in, at the grocery store, just walking around saying, my membership was canceled. What happened? That's devastating, because I'm the one that they trusted. They came to my class. They were told they were going to get this, and now they're getting to the front desk. They don't have
Turn away.
memberships anymore, and no explanations, no letters or anything like that. So it makes you skeptical of people coming in your neighborhood. It makes you skeptical of wanting to work with them at all. Like WePack was another example of that. They came in, they were going to work with us. We don't even know where WePack is anymore. School of the Future had an agreement with us about our students going to that school. That has been changed dramatically. They've had about 6 or 7 principals. I mean, the list could go on and on. And that doesn't mean I don't see anything beautiful about where I live, but it just feels like we get raped. We have something beautiful here, but we get raped. And when we come to the table to partner, because we want to help our people that are already here, as well as open up our horizons and bring new people in, it doesn't always go that way. And I'm only 42 years old, but that's the limited experience that I've had. And I see heads around the table nodding, so I'm not the only one.
And she's true with all that, because I live in the area also where she's speaking on. And with the development, it's like because matter of fact, they put the new mall back up in my house. So now we hear talk that they don't want to look at Columbia Avenue no more, because it's not it's a sore eyesight. So now they thinking, do we tear down the sore eyesight? Now if they tear down the sore eyesight, then I know you don't want to look at the back of the houses. So that means the next row of houses is going to have to be demolished also, you know, so they can still beautify the area.
This is Columbia Avenue where?
54.
By the big
51st.
box stores.
Right.
Right, okay.
ShopRite.
Yeah.
ShopRite and the Lowe's, yeah.
You know, and then if they don't run you out one way, they with the taxes, you know. So if they don't get you one way, they're gonna try and get you another way. So at this point, what do you do?
And it was my biggest problem with the museum, because most of the residents in the area are on fixed income, they're senior citizens, and so their tax rates went up. That wasn't something that they anticipated, but now you're saying their grandchildren don't get some kind of buyout because of, you know what I'm saying? So now I'm paying these skyrocketed taxes, but it still doesn't bring anything to my neighborhood. At least I know if my children or my great-grandchildren or my grandchildren have this museum as a resource, it's helping them educationally. There is some kind of even trade there. But to not even offer that that's pretty deep.
So in this climate, how do people interact with the arts and culture? Is it still possible? Do people interact with the zoo, the museum, the Please Touch, and the others, or are people creating other opportunities for cultural expression?
Well, you see the people out the area coming to the zoo and every place else. It's not the ones that live there.
And they're not marketing to us either.
No.
They're on the
No.
flyers
No.
or anything saying to us what's going on, unless you're on the email list or something like that. And everything is marketed to the main line and out to other areas, and they want to make sure that security is good around the area so people can come in because that'll bring in the revenue. But there's nothing in the ShopRite or the Lowe's area to let us know for our children what's going on there. Like even something as simple as the kindergarten next to them. It's not done anymore. And we have children going to kindergarten. So what about ours, you know?
And they put $11 million in the man over for the last couple of years. Like with their whole development, like all the way down to Belmont, where all those trees was put up. They have another stage that, have y'all seen the stage that was put in back of the regular stage as you go up the hill and with the fence and all that, yes. Yeah, so they constantly put money. Then in the front of it, they took like part of the parking lot and made a little flower.
I don't know what that was. It's a mess.
It's a mess.
Mosquitoes, it's a swamp. I don't know what they were thinking. That was a waste.
Yeah. And I'm so used to, you know, like when my kids was young, you know, I take them over there. That's where the kids learned how to ride their bikes, you know. They keep them from getting hit. You take them over there in the parking lot and you teach them how to ride. But it's changed so much.
So one of the things that people said was that this is an artist-rich community. So where are all the artists and how are they getting involved? Where are they getting involved in?
Well, I think that's why I started Little Filmmakers, because I knew growing up, particularly growing up in West Philly and I was like 12, I wanted to learn how to make movies, but they didn't have any type of resources. So my mother took me to the library, and this is before the internet. I had to read books about how to, make movies, and
Scars.
I literally had stacks and stacks of books about filmmaking. So by the time I went to college, I was like, you're not gonna tell me nothing. I've read everything. But I was a nerd. So after I graduated, I was like thinking to myself, I had this camera, and I knew at 12 I wanted to learn how to make movies. So I'm sure there's other kids. So that's what prompted me just to go back to Belmont Elementary School.
Okay.
And I just volunteered, and the kids loved it. So I started taking my cameras to different schools, different summer camps, the Please Touch Museum eventually. So for me, I was kind of filling that void. And I realized there was a void because I didn't have something. So it was like, even though the zoo didn't really offer anything to the children that really lived in the community, I knew as an artist I was offering something. Yeah.
And how is your work supported?
By Jesus. But we started off just as a community arts program, it was small. Then eventually, certain schools would get grants and they would be able to bring us in. Then in 2009, we incorporated to a nonprofit, so now we're able to get other grants and other. I do really well with getting support and donations from the business community and other. I can never say it's Florent. How you say it? I can never say it.
Artists.
Yeah, and other artists and everything. So we get a lot of things donated, resources. People volunteer their time. It's something I just cultivated over the years. So we may not have hundreds of thousands of dollars in our in our budget. I mean, as far as our bank account is concerned, but I'm able to continue to function one step at a time.
Project.
Yeah, project per project. Yeah.
So what other arts exist in the neighborhood? What cultural projects and activities?
Well, I have a mobile cafe called Stillwaters, and we travel. We're either in Little Creek Recreation Center or Parkside Evans. And right now we're 3 or 4 times a year because it was coming out of my paycheck. And me and my daughter's going to be homeless if I continue.
Yeah.
But it's somewhere for the kids to come on Friday night. We have spoken word poetry. We have dancers, we have singers, we have rappers, but it's either inspirational or gospel. We serve food. I also added an entrepreneurial aspect to it. I taught them how to be waiters and waitresses. They had uniforms. Taught them how to, set up their tables, to vend food and things like that, because I wanted them to come out of it with a lot of experiences, but just not a lot of money to keep something like that going. So, which is why I scaled it back to 3 or 4 times a year, so that at least we stay visible. And I kept our page up on Facebook, so at least I'm still able to do it through that venue. But it's kind of hit and miss. It might be an open mic here or something that another group of kids get together and they do, but nobody really gets money consistently to keep something like that going in this area. But there's a lot of underground stuff going on.
So tell me more about that. I mean, it sounds like your program is a little bit like that in that it doesn't sound like you made a nonprofit out of it or fundraise for it. Like you said, you were just putting it out of your own paycheck. So how do people make things like that happen, and what kinds of things are happening in the neighborhood that are underground?
What do you mean when you say how do you make them happen?
Well, so you just, it sounds like you got the equipment yourself and...
Yeah, I was crazy, yeah. I went with the equipment, figured out how to hook up your iPod or whatever and become your own DJ.
Yeah.
Because my DJ was $250 every time he came. He was good. I won't take it from him, but...
Wasn't 250 good, huh?
No, he was more than 250 good. He really, really was. I'm not going to take that from him. I mean, because he handled the mics, the sound, and everything. When
Right.
you get into that, you want your sound to be good because you want to attract good artists, and you don't want them to say, her sound is crappy, we don't want to come back. So he's really, now at this point, special events. But I had to learn so much hands-on myself to make it happen and work my daughter like a Georgia slave to get the flyers out and to find other artists to get them to come and get people to buy into it, because not a lot of people want their name to be associated with something that they don't think is too reputable. But we're 8 years old, so our reputation is pretty good and it's pretty solid.
Location?
No, we're mobile, so we'll take a rec center, any rec center. I have all my equipment in my 2-bedroom apartment, backdrop, whatever I need, tablecloths. We have T-shirts and all that kind of, whatever, coffee mugs, whatever help vend to bring in some money. That's what we do. And then partnering with other organizations. Like there's an organization called Mill Creek Community Partnership. So we partner with them, and they might say, well, for this month, we can take care of your refreshments. So that way I don't have to worry about that being out of pocket. I don't have to worry about having somebody work that station. It's just, you come, you eat, and whatever. But that's the best I can give you. Sound equipment, mics and all that. It's in my house. I got an SUV. I just carry all that around, and we make it happen.
Do it yourself.
Yeah, and every time I've set up, especially at Mill Creek, it's some kids outside. I said, hey, can you help me? They'll set the whole thing up, disappear, and somehow they come back at the end and help clean up, and that's it. So it really was something that the kids built. Although it was a vision I had, but the kids built it, and they kind of went off and then, have done different things with their lives, but some kind of way, they've always been an integral part. I just wanted them to have somewhere to go on a Friday night to express themselves and to be exposed to arts and culture, and know that it didn't have to be corny. It could be good.
I've had some dealings with bigger and smaller kinds of art events, and I've also had dealings with various people that need help in various kinds. And what I've learned is that to actually understand the system, to be able to get the help you need, if you're a homeless veteran or something, I mean, how do you get that, what's out there? How do you find those things? Is one of the most complicated things I've ever been through in my life. And who you call, and how do you go from this agency to that agency? And in the arts, I did a public art project for Pico down in Point Breeze and Grays Ferry. Ended last year, but it went on for 2 years before that, where everything was community-based and reaching out to the different communities to find out what they wanted, what would be interesting, and blah, blah, blah. And basically spending Pico's money. I learned that there are many opportunities, and there's many what they call presenters, like in Point Breeze, there's Diversified Community Services, for example. There's a bunch of them. And they are looking for programs of art and culture. They're looking for people like you or anybody here that says, well, I've got this, I can do this thing. And what I discovered was that the Philly Rising, has anybody heard of that?
I think
out of the mayor's office.
Yeah.
That's actually, the people that I dealt with there were really helpful. And they don't have money, they don't do anything except connect dots for people. So I don't know if there's anybody for this particular region. What they did for Philly Rising was look at the crime map. And wherever there was like the biggest hot spots, they got somebody. And the fellow that I worked with, Ade Fuqua in Point Breeze, was just amazing. He knew everybody. We'd drive down the street, he'd say, oh, Grandma's over here, I gotta meet her, she runs this block, and so forth and so on. But what they were able to do was, in the community situation and my situation in the community, would say, okay, talk to these people. You get this person who rents sound equipment, for example, who's going to work with this person at this recreation center. And what they were able to do was help people on the street like us find the resources that are there. I mean, something like yours, well, everybody's, it just sounds like it's right for somebody going like, I'm interested, but you guys are too far apart, there's a wall. So one of the things that interested me about this whole project was what system there is for making it easy for any of us to hook up with these other places, these other sources. And maybe they have money, maybe they don't. Maybe it's a bartering thing somehow. I mean, it's all out there, and there's just a huge need for it, but the communication's not good. Not just with the city, but with all these different things. I mean, there's even the Pew Foundation, which has all this money. There's programs there I can't even figure them out. I'm sure Mark's, if not the rest of it, you look at those guidelines and go like, am I in here someplace? Can I get $10,000 for this wonderful thing I'm doing for the neighborhood or whatever? It's just complicated.
Yeah, it is complicated.
Yep.
How do people make connections? You talked about this idea if there are certain people that can make connections. So are there any community institutions that people use as connectors? Is it churches? Is it community centers? Is it the UCD? Is it through universities? How do people make connections when they want to put things on?
It's all that. It's the community, it's the churches, it's who you know, it's
It's a lot of who you know.
Yeah.
So much more individual than.
Yeah.
Who are the right people? Go ahead.
I mean, this was something I was going to piggyback on some of John's things. Yeah, I mean, I've been living off and on in this neck of the woods for, since the mid-90s, and especially for the last 10 years. I have a hard time engaging with other folks on a social level in my own neighborhood. I mean, I don't feel I want to go to a place and have a meal by myself or something, and meet other people. Sit at the bar with them and meet new people and that sort of thing. Or I want to walk there and interact with people on my way, and I don't that doesn't happen to me. I mean, there are other neighborhoods, and this is why I feel that despite being an artist-rich neighborhood, the artists aren't, or the artistic community, whether it's those who are engaged or those who are artists themselves, there's not areas in which, things are coming together on a regular basis, like you might see on a First Friday on a regular basis, or wherever there are hubs of activity, whether it's commercial or 3 galleries that open every. I know there's second Fridays on Lancaster and that sort of thing, but the street level vitality is I think the lack of it it prevents, I think, it prevents us from making these very important connections.
I think it's all about communication, because I don't have a problem with it myself, because I'm an outward person, and any day of the week I could sit down and I could see you on the street, how you doing, if you want to spend a couple minutes talking. I have no problem with that, because I'm outward like that. I guess it depends on your personality, because I go sit in a restaurant and talk to everybody in the restaurant.
Sure.
Well, it's a good point, and I went to the last Second Friday, which is a very small thing in this very large neighborhood.
Yeah.
And you guys, Drexel and UCD, and a lot of people put energy into that, and it sort of falters and comes and goes a little bit. And I met a woman, I forget her name, who said, I want this to be really happening. So she got bands, she got a whole bunch of people just out of her, she just called them up and said, come on, let's go out and do something. It was very exciting. There were 2 galleries, there was 2 coffee shops that had jazz playing at it. So it was kind of cool. It was really actually very cool. And there was somebody who had a barbecue thing down in Hamilton. And I thought, well, this is neat, my neighborhood and all this kind of stuff. And then I was thinking about a more arty neighborhood like Kensington and Fishtown. That's the hot neighborhood. You know, this is not really known, I don't think, as an artist town. That's where everybody is. And you go up there on a Friday night or whatever, and it's really happening. There's people all over the street. But you go up there on Sunday or Monday afternoon or Wednesday morning, it looks just like every other neighborhood in Philadelphia. I mean, the question to me is about whether these events, and you're right, there's no bars, there's no good restaurants. I'm kind of happy about that, actually. You know? There's my front porch, you're all welcome to come over there. But this sense of having a social life that comes from the arts and culture seems more important than the actual arts. Like, I'm in the art world, so I can't speak to larger things. But what that did on any opening is people come around and they talk to each other. I mean, honestly, nobody really looks at the work that much, and not much gets bought and sold. That all happens somewhere else. But people get to touch in with each other they haven't seen for a month time, or you get to meet people you've never seen before, which is what happens a lot on Lancaster Avenue. So that's a very small thing that Mark's worked very hard on, and Drexel has, and people like that. And it's a start. And that's just one small commercial area, which is
Right.
There's other ones around that maybe could benefit from that.
Go ahead.
Well, Terrence and myself, we just opened up a business on 39th Street. It's a shoot. We do shoot to mugs. Well, anything that you want to put a picture on, we can help you put it on there. But basically, with the neighborhood, I wasn't familiar with the neighborhood. Because they always talked about this down the bottom, and it's the worst part of, West Philly you want to be in. And being down there, it's a lot of vacant houses torn down and everything. But it's the hub area now. And basically, it seemed like more of a tight-knit little area for right now. Because, Terrence would go up, because one of our machines we've been having problems with, and I cannot do no lifting. So Terrence would go up and see if he could find somebody to help him, lift the machine, because we down in the basement area. So he seemed like he had never find nobody to help him lift the machine. I go up there in a few minutes, and I just stop the people, and they'll come on down and help him. And he just, always like, yeah, there you go. You have that way of going up there. Well, what he say it's not nice anyway.
But we had a home, not a homecoming. We had
a grand opening.
Yeah. We put flyers in everybody's door, and the only people that showed up were people that we know. Free food, free gifts, free drinks, and nobody from the neighborhood showed up.
Well, a few of them showed up.
People that I knew that from the neighborhood, because I grew up with 42nd Street.
Yeah.
50-something years ago.
But they helpful around there, like in the recreation center that's there. What's that? Haverford Community Center. Yeah. It's right off of 39th Street. If you go on 39th Street, and they have those big pictures on the wall.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So we connected with them.
Oh, okay.
And we down in the basement part.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. I was going to say the same thing. I've heard the word restaurant come up a few times, and I feel like if I serve cold pizza, that's not going to be any good for anybody. So let's just take a little break for 5 minutes and go grab some food and come and bring it back. Is that okay? I don't want anyone not to eat, so let's all feed ourselves.
So what this about?
And how did y'all locate?
Right. So I found your phone number online. Go to that. So that was the phone number that I called because we were trying to contact the organizations that are involved in the community. So that's how we found you. So grab some pizza. But before you go, I'm gonna get your mailing address so I can add that to my list here. But it's so nice to meet you in person. Yeah, that was it. That's exactly it. Perfect.
Chef, she said, 3 years ago. Okay. So she's interested in.
A couple kids come down there,
cinematography.
try to learn.
Yeah. I was shocked when she told me that. Well, no, take no pictures.
I'm teaching my thing.
So she said she's.
So you teach the technical skills of editing and
Nobody's
things
ever
like that, or
come
you're
down and
more
said, well, would you
conceptual?
like to learn how to do
Okay.
this? So,
I'm not a documentary filmmaker or a narrative filmmaker, I'm an experimental filmmaker, but that doesn't mean I know
What's the most work you guys are getting?
microphones.
This specific.
embroidery.
Yeah, it's whatever is fun.
That's really fun.
It is fun, it's exhausting.
That was in the beginning.
Free 6-hour class.
Like school.
6 hours.
We're doing discovery.
Okay, so is
Belmont,
that
Parkside.
all in a row or held throughout the
No,
week?
it's once like all day.
I can't remember the name, but they just started charter
That's
school and they want to
intensive.
do
Yeah, it's fun.
Are they
design it. Logo.
film major specifically?
Yeah,
So you
like
have
almost all. Yeah,
so
that and
they're really
animation.
People
They're
are
really
Animators are really
dedicated to that.
crazy.
buy into it.
Hey, can we like switch the squirrel or something?
They married me for 11, 12 years. I just started with 2 years.
No.
I had nothing else to do with my money but throw it away.
So you the Cowboy fan?
I'm the Cowboys and the Steelers fan.
And they're 0-2.
To watch enemies.
I hope pizza is okay. Is that gonna? Oh no, you are a pizza guy. We talked to you.
Right.
We ran it by
It's a
you.
problem. I'm
Pizza
trying to
problem?
stay away.
Good for you.
I'm just a fan too, so I'm not gonna.
So Mary, I think
I ate a whole
talked
pizza
to you
by
on the phone,
myself
you said
last
you
night.
had started that in your home.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Good for
And now
you.
you moved it to the.
Where was it?
I get burns it
I was
off.
doing it 10 years.
I don't know.
I just.
Where did you,
always
order
get
it from?
pictures.
I actually did pickup from Dock Street for the first time.
And then I just started, I don't know.
I went to see you at the bank a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Supposed to get my first million points. What happened?
Oh, we're working on it though. We're working on it.
Like with Lucha.
Is she in high school now? She's done.
You're a pizza
She's
expert.
senior. Wow.
Just an eating
It didn't
expert.
fly.
I remember her when she was like in the
That's
second
my
grade.
sport to everybody. It did not fly. I remember every moment of it. That's not my
One that's coming to Philadelphia.
Tomorrow.
You remember me chasing her around with that chess club and all that? I remember every moment.
That's where I think the scene we left off, the chess club.
Okay.
That was
So you're
enough.
gonna be there then?
You'll be there first thing.
First thing in the morning. And the company really not making no money yet. We sitting there just, still, doing different ideas and coming up with things. But
This is good.
my sister, she comes in to help. And then
Got a little
we
guy.
have a little guy that his stepfather said, you know what? I have a problem with him sitting on the couch.
Okay.
So he said, and when I came in here and seen this business, I married him off to you. And I tell you, the little guy, he comes in, he's 22, but he don't know much. And I tell you, it took me a whole week to teach him how to fold a shirt. And I even tore off a cardboard box. And I'm showing him. But last week when he was in the back, he was folding the shirt, I just stood back and looked at him, and he finally folded the shirt, and I just laughed.
Taught him a skill.
Yeah. So he's getting better. He likes to, like if you put him on the computer, like it's programs that I could pull up on the computer to teach him the work that I do. But as soon as I get up and leave, he turns it off of that and put on the sports.
Oh no.
So I'm like, okay.
Andrew,
Yeah, go ahead.
how far is Drexel willing to go into the neighborhoods? Are they gonna stay just primarily around in Mantua, or are they gonna spread out? Like Penn has, Penn's going all the way up to 52nd Street.
I'm not in the center of the Drexel planning process, but I'll tell you what I've read.
Okay.
And Mark also knows about this because he works for University City District. There's a big effort for the university to develop around 30th Street, literally over the railroad tracks. And do a lot of commercial and retail and some residential neighborhood stuff. Not neighborhood level, but big buildings. And the idea behind it, as far as I understand it, is to really bring in outside financial partners to match. So Drexel would get the land, and then these partners would do the development on the land. And then, so that's really all around 30th Street, where there isn't a lot right now. We're talking about over the rail yards. In terms of in the neighborhoods.
And all that parking, that surface parking lot, right there between the university and 30th Street Station.
Oh, okay.
I think that's really where they're,
Go down, if you go down.
JFK. So you have the parking authority there.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the
side is
street,
what I'm
where the
talking
buses line up or whatever.
Right.
So that's like, a few acres of surface parking lot. And yeah, I think that's where you're gonna see.
So who has the old
development.
post office building?
That's now the IRS.
RS.
Oh,
thought
I
Drexel
thought it was Penn and Drexel
Well,
that went
Drexel-
through and bought that.
No, Penn bought it and then turned it over to the IRS. It's for international taxation. So if you're Switzerland and you need to pay your U.S. taxes, you come to Philadelphia now to do that. In terms of neighborhood stuff, I don't see a lot of investment financially outside of this one community center that they're doing, right? This Dornsafe Center, which is on Spring Garden, is that right? And that's going to be
Right here on like 30.
35th and Spring Garden.
Something like that.
The idea there is to have a hub for programs that do community outreach, but they're not, as far as I know, we're not buying homes, expanding academic facilities or dormitories or anything like that into the
Say that
neighborhood.
again, what are they doing with that? Because I'm right across the street there, and I see them doing that construction.
Okay, they bought a home or a couple homes and combined them or
Well, it look
something
like
like
they
that.
got that whole block.
I think
But
it's
they
just
taking
one.
the building, or they taking the big
substantial.
white building?
Yes.
It's a big
They
building.
only doing the big white building?
No, I think that they have plans to do most of
The,
the
block, is that right?
Yeah,
That whole.
And that'll all be the Dornsafe Center.
That's
So
right.
that's the hub for community programs, community outreach for the
Oh,
school.
okay.
It's not gonna be a dramatic building at all. I mean, several people wanted to build that, but I've seen the plans for it and all that,
Yes.
and the community just
it's
said
gonna look
no.
very similar to how.
Yeah, it's not,
looks.
they're doing, everybody seems to feel that's a very positive thing.
That was an existing
okay.
building, right?
So there were plans
They were in there
within the
with
last year. to put that
hazmat
whole
people in there about
green
2
thing,
weeks
right?
ago.
Three-story
Yeah.
apartments with parking in the middle and 2 driveways on
Oh,
the
okay.
street to the back, which what, Brandywine?
Uh-huh.
And then in Spring Garden, then he just got shot down.
Oh, okay.
And it takes a lot of
And
yapping to get those
we
things.
was also looking for someone to help us with our business plan. So we went to, the 56 and Market,
46 in March.
Enterprise Center?
and we also called downtown, to, City Hall. But we really haven't received any help from them.
Did you receive a response from the Enterprise Center?
Well, the person that the person that contacted us back, they wanted like, 2,500.
What?
The guy what's the guy who was originally down there?
I got some students at
What's
St.
the guy?
Joe's.
Was the Asian guy? He left there.
For their MBA,
Chinatown.
free.
He said he was still there. He could have helped us out. But he
See,
was
somebody needs a
affiliated.
project done.
Interesting.
And
I think there are, I think Wharton could be a resource, believe it or not. I think that there are classes that take on community.
projects, yeah.
Yeah, business plans.
plan projects.
But that's what you were saying, if we all could meet and share information
I
like
know.
that, and you can make some progress.
Yeah, it's
Just
not-
sitting like, me in my living room, you were in your business, going like, who do I talk to?
Who do I talk to?
And going to City Hall, that's like saying I went to,
It was the scope, I think, I had to get in touch with Scope,
Scope?
yes.
I don't know what scope is.
The score?
School, yeah, school.
I have another place you could
And they
go.
never got back in touch with me.
Yeah, I went to this place called Entrepreneur Works. It used to be called Philadelphia Development something blah blah blah. I don't know, but it's called Entrepreneur Works now, and I think it's a really great resource. They offer classes at a really cheap discount, and you also get like this mentorship. I think that's something you should look into. Because I've been to SCORE and I've been to the Enterprise Center, and I ended up there. Huh?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, SCORE, yeah. So yeah, I will look into that. I'll give you the information before we go.
Let me jump back onto the theme of arts and culture, and I was curious to learn for this study we're doing of arts and culture in the neighborhood. What are the events and activities that people participate in the neighborhood? I know that we have little filmmakers, and Ars Nova presents things in West Philadelphia, not necessarily in this neighborhood. You've done some stuff at CEC in the past, but what are some of the hubs for this? Whether they're drill teams. Would you be willing to write these up, Rachel, on that other board?
You know, I mean, modeling, you know.
I think the last big thing I was at was the Jazz Fest that the PEC did.
A couple weeks back.
Yeah, that's about July. Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing neighborhood wise.
No, what's that?
Modeling.
Tuesday night out.
Tuesday night out?
Not national night out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the Jazz Fest was bigger than that though.
The Jazz Fest was pretty great.
Yeah.
But that's all over, like certain areas have a national night out, so
What's
you
the
really
difference?
can't.
Yeah, but it's culture though. That was like
Yeah.
real pure jazz musicians, not like bebop funk. No, that was good jazz. You don't want to go home. Jazz.
And just outside of this a little bit, it should, I mean, I think the CEC is
Yeah.
a really big deal that's underutilized. Maybe, I mean, it's just totally being, you know, I'm trying to think of a polite word for it. It's being ignored by Drexel.
It really is, yes.
And it's a place that is ripe for development as far as a cultural hub. And the PEC has done an amazing job too. I mean,
Yeah,
they're really,
absolutely.
those people I didn't know, and then they've, you know, James Wright and people like that, I've talked to them, and
Yeah.
they're really interested in doing things, and your University City District is stepped up in a lot of ways. So there are less than enormous institutions and somewhat, you know, flexible institutions that can help, I think, and put together events.
When you
Like
guys,
you said with your kids, it should come from the artists, it should come from the people who want to do something. You know, it's like we're the ones that have to bring it up. They're gonna sit around and go, well, I don't know. So, that's been my experience anyway.
So with that building being built there on Spring Garden, once that gets settled, are they gonna do the outreach and come into the community and?
I don't know the answer, but I would say that that's the promise. I know that this grant that we got to help figure out what's going on arts and culture wise and report it back and report it out into the people, to the people that we interviewed and surveyed, I think is a step in that direction to start connecting people together and connecting those dots. But I think it's as that building comes online and it's staffed up, I think it'd be a good idea to go in there and ask what they're planning on delivering.
So,
What do you think?
Go ahead, Mary, please.
so do y'all basically know what's going on in the neighborhood, or are you just trying to get feedback from everybody?
We're trying to learn. I think I know some things just from living here, but not enough, you know? I mean, I don't live, and I think there's a lot of differences between what's going on in Mantua versus what's going on in Palatine versus West Palatine, Saunders Park. So I don't know everything, and neither does Julie or any of the rest of us. So we need to go out, in addition to doing these focus groups, we're doing about 5 focus groups, we're doing about 500 surveys, asking similar kinds of questions, just to learn, and then put the word back out to everybody we talk to. This is what we found, and then maybe build some of those linkages. So, you know, we don't come in here knowing. I mean, maybe we know a few things, but not enough. Mark, you were going to say something?
I was going to ask a question, you know, to everybody else, you know, regarding arts and culture and its priority in our lives. You know, I mean, I can speak for myself. You know, I've put a lot of things before. I put art and culture before a lot of things, and experience art before a lot of things in my life. I mean, I make it a real priority. I would go out to 3 things every night, you know, and I try to, you know, I mean, maybe that's an exaggeration, but I mean, really, I put I put cultural experiences and experiencing art ahead of, you know, many other things. So, you know, I guess I'm at, you know, but that's me in my little house in, you know, West Powelton. But, you know, if I asked that question to somebody who lived 8 blocks away from me, 4 blocks away from me, you know, what are they going to say?
Well, we know you can't stop progress. That's inevitable. But we do have communities that money's gonna come into, they'd like to get some of it. You know, we're tired of getting stepped on. You know, okay, yeah, I'll promise you this. We'll throw 5, 10, maybe 50,000 at you when they first come in. Then over the years, it's like, okay, well, we'll look and see if we can get some more money to you, get some more money to you. But yet, all the time you're developing, the money, you know, going to the zoo, going to the Please Touch Museum, and going to the man over there and all that. But yet the community just starts, you know, fading away or get pushed out. You know, and I don't think it's fair. But the community is just tired of getting pushed out. We want to be included also. That's all we're asking, is to be included. And for the ones that want to speak up and be included, let them be it.
That goes back to what you were saying a little bit earlier about some of the bait and switch.
Because we didn't even know that the Mann Museum has a music program for young children and teens.
There you go.
They have a music program. So at the Mann Music Center. So here's my logic. We're sitting and watching the budget cuts in the school district. There's a great supplemental resource right there. So that's one less fight we have to fight. To say, okay, they can't get it at school, but I can get them around the corner to the Mann Music Museum, and they can still get some sort of music. One of the things I learned at the Please Touch Museum, the curator there, you know, she makes a living archiving toys. That's a cool job. Like, for real, can we tell our kids about that? That they could get paid. That's a historian's job. She's archiving Star Wars stuff and the stuff our parents threw out because they said you know, it's too much. And somebody's getting paid like $60,000 to $70,000 a year. But if they don't get exposure to that and they don't learn about that, they'll never understand that history has many options. The Please Touch Museum has an ACES program. Nobody knows about that teen program there. That's for grades 9th through 12th grade. It's not marketed in our community. The zoo has a program for teenagers. The Science Museum for all these museums, but they're not marketed. I know because I was in there. I try to scream it to as many people as possible, but then the thing that you said earlier about wanting to talk to people, there's a trust issue because they've come to me like that before, but then something else different happened. So now we're not so willing to have conversation because we're just not sure. You know what I mean? And then we teach our kids to be fearful, and it's not good for them either, but we don't know how to do this, how to have this conversation. And you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So how does information travel in the neighborhood? What would be the way to get to people?
I think sometimes events like this.
Yeah. When people bring flyers and they pass them out. If you get the shot right, they'll give you a day. You can put your flyers in the bags when they're bagging them.
Sometimes. I mean, I ran into that
So they
at
didn't
Pathmark,
let you?
and they said, no, you can put a sign outside if you want.
Oh no, I'm talking about shot right now. I don't know about
All right, well, I'm just saying.
Mr. Brown seems to be pretty alright. He has a community room there also. He lets you have community meetings, so he's just been a little bit more friendly.
Accessible and friendly.
Yeah, accessible. And then just hit the street. Give kids like $2 and tell them, or you pay them when they get back, whoever get back the fastest, they get pizza, like,
Right.
that's how you know.
Social media a lot. I have teenagers, little filmmakers, Facebook, because I don't do Facebook. And they're really good with updating it and everything. So that's,
And
and Twitter. That's a good way to get information out.
Do you find people from the neighborhood respond to that? Other teenagers in the neighborhood or?
So in most cases, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But these are relationships we already developed and they became our friends on Facebook. So it's kind of like I could just knock on their door and tell them the same thing.
Right.
Yeah, so.
I think the key word you said was relationship.
Yeah, and that's what we had.
Yeah. That's a big thing, because that brings trust.
Is there trust with places like the CEC and PEC and University City District and some of these other places? I heard some skepticism about the zoo, MAN, and even to some extent Please Touch. What are the institutions that in the neighborhood people trust?
I definitely trust the CEC. We have a relationship
Support them.
with we've been Community Education Center is right there at 35th and Lancaster.
3,500.
Arts and culture, please.
Yeah, and
Music.
Yeah.
theater, dance,
Classes, lots of dance
Everything.
classes.
classes, yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
So we had a karate school at, or next door
Yeah,
to
they
it?
did, they do. Oh, no, I mean, they did have karate classes and that sort of
I
thing
can't
in
think
the
of
CEC.
So what the building look like?
Across
It's
from the
7-Eleven.
you know where
It's like a big old mansion, kind
all
of.
the pizza shops are on one side.
Yeah.
Right, on the opposite side?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an old,
like an
old building.
apartment
It's
building.
a-
Beds.
It's
Yeah, there's a lot of
old meeting house.
Alright.
Yeah.
I thought that was part of Drexel, it's not.
So did I. I didn't think it
Definitely
was
not part of
Drexel.
No.
Drexel. Quote unquote, I seen nothing but white folks go in there, so I just thought it was Drexel periodically.
It's,
I didn't see
no, it's a
nobody
very
of color
mixed
going.
environment. Terry
Yeah.
Shockley runs the place, it's African American, and there's an African
dancer.
American.
But I'm just saying, at the time,
Right, for
when I
whatever
was going
event.
in town to catch the L, I was going in early, so,
Yeah.
you know, I didn't get to see a whole lot of people going in just at the time that I was going past.
No, they need,
But I just thought
they
that
need
was
support and
Drexel.
help and programs and all kinds of stuff there.
There's a arts event place on 52nd, right off of Lancaster, called the Wall Street International, and it's funny because it's right next door to I don't remember the state rep.
Lowry, Brown.
Yeah, so it looks like nothing on the outside, but when you go through, like the I guess the doorway, whatever, it's this huge space and they hold live concerts. So like musicians come usually to play like
All over.
The black building?
No, it's not black.
No.
She's talking about the building, she's talking about the building on the right going up at 51st, but where's it at, in conjunction to,
Yeah.
Stores Place on the left, and AT&T, is an AT&T building, the Stores Place,
No, I
It's
think it's
behind it.
it's behind it.
Yeah,
So it's
they-
not-
remember the school, the Global Char that burned down maybe a year or so ago? They're literally like right across the way from them, like behind them. But it used
Not
to
on
be-
Lancaster.
Is
Not
there?
on Lancaster.
No, they're on 52nd Street, off of
Is that
Lancaster.
on Warren?
I think Warren maybe more
Bible
across
Way.
street.
Yeah, Bible Way.
Bible Way is that funny street how it cuts
Yeah, that's
off. but-
Warren, that's Warren.
Yeah,
but
so it's
if
right
you
off
go
there.
through the front, you would never know how big this place is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know
and
what you're talking about.
it used to be like an abandoned place that had a bunch of tires, but the owners
Cleaned it.
cleaned it out. They built the stage, and I was
And that's
there.
not a block anybody kind of goes.
Exactly. So it was just like reggae music, and they had like a bonfire, and they had to fight up on this like the big screen, and it was really nice. And I was
Events
telling them
all year round.
all year round, and people would never know that they're back there, and people from all walks of life attend that. So I think that's a resource that people don't even realize is in their own community.
Great artistic resource.
Yeah.
That's great to
You
know.
get it from all
Yeah.
over.
Well, it sounds like the Arts Garage, kind of sort of.
It's bigger.
It's bigger, way bigger.
Yeah, it's bigger, and it's out.
With the Larry Graham show, right there at 52nd Street. Well, it's a big building too, but they had the outside concert, and when you go in the building, it's like right in the same area where the State Store.
Yeah, where the big black building.
I know you're talking about, yeah.
That's where they hold events. Yeah.
Right,
And
right.
that was real nice. I was like really shocked with that.
Yeah.
So what's that place called? They had Larry Graham?
Yeah, Larry Graham, it was there.
About a month ago.
What, do you know what the place is called?
She just showed up.
Just came up.
Black people.
Lancaster events. I'm trying to remember the sign. You see it on the outside. I
Yeah.
know it holds different events.
Yeah, but I think my point is that no one knows that Wall Street International is there. It's like a very small cluster of people that know. But it's, and she holds she has internships where teens come and learn about entrepreneurship, and they hold karate classes. That's what made me think of it. They hold karate classes there. So it's like it's another underutilized art center in West Philly that no one even knows exists. Yeah.
They even have the healthy shop in the front.
Oh yeah, and they also sell like healthy like herbs and stuff. They have like a store, like an extension. Yeah, so it's like they're in their own community.
52nd.
It's on 52nd Street, right across from this field. I don't know what the field is.
It's a field now.
yeah, field
It's that little pizza place, and then it's a big field.
And
but
then
they
daycare
right
center.
on
Where the lumber is down.
Media.
Yeah, so yeah, it is me.
But that's the
Look
Brown
at
Lowry, the council.
She across the street, the
Yeah,
state
she's
rep.
right
The
next
state
to-
rep, she's
that's
right next door.
She's right next door. The state
It used to
rep.
be the Adelphia years ago.
I don't.
I know the Capitol was down the street. That's
Yeah.
what I know.
Yeah.
I know that.
I remember the Capitol. I used to watch movies with rats back in the day.
I ain't never go in there. but I know
It's right
Like
next to
the
the
leader
corner.
on-
It's a corner, and then there's a building.
She's right.
She's kind of smack in the middle of the block.
Yeah.
It was so small in the front, and then when you walk in,
And
it's
it's like
huge.
gated in the front a little bit, so you would never know
I
what's
think that
back
used to be
there.
a church, an African church.
It can't be. It's an outdoor.
It's all outdoor. It used to be a lot where they had old trucks, old tires.
Yeah.
It was a big dump ground.
Yeah, and they cleaned it out.
And they just cleaned it out. It took years, and they cleaned it out and made that.
Paved it. They planted
Paved it.
trees. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool place to have like something like this, but with live music.
So what is the role of churches in all this? Do they have art programs, after school programs? I haven't heard churches coming up too much.
Well, they had churches every corner.
My church is right down the street, but other than them having vacation Bible for the summer, I haven't heard anything else about them having anything. First United down the street there. But
So the church I belong to is called the Church Down the Way. That's literally what it's
The
called.
name, yeah.
We have a nonprofit attached to us called Mill Creek Community Partnership. And they have an art program called Fine Art Through Our Eyes. And they have an intergenerational program at St. Ignatius Nursing Home with the residents there and the youth and committee and the community. And they also have art programs like 6 to 12 weeks in the fall and the spring at Mill Creek Recreation Center at 48th and Brown. And they do like fabric making workshops and things like that. Like they have different projects set up for every term. And that's been in existence about 6 or 7 years. But they've done quilts and the whole nine with the seniors. And they've done collages and things. At St. Ignatius Nursing Home, you can just walk in the door and you can see everything on every
That
floor.
they did.
But
That's on Habit, right?
right. But the art program is run at Mill Creek Recreation Center at 48th and Brown. And the person that oversees that is Cass Green. She's like the director over at PEC now. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me go back to that question that Mark was raising earlier, which is that in a neighborhood where it can be a struggle for some people just to survive, how important is arts and culture? Is arts and culture important at all?
not if you living from paycheck to paycheck.
That could be
That's not gonna help too much.
What's it cost to enjoy art?
Yeah.
Right, that's a good point.
Yeah, but if you ain't got nobody to watch your kids and you know, you want to
Kids is destructive, but you know you take
Well, it's
them
probably-
in, you tearing up everything.
I would like to see the
It's
area
probably
more
about
like
the same
South
amount, isn't it?
Philadelphia when you're walking down South Street, South Philly. It looks a little more lively, more communicable. Like more restaurants that have outside venues and maybe, you know, have different things, specials going on. I mean, get the community back out because I was involved in our neighborhood, and with outside restaurants in the day. I'm trying to say what happened. All that kind of disappeared. You know,
Yeah, like street festivals type
street
stuff.
festivals and, you know, art festivals and everybody was in the street. You know, we have the Amish come and have fruit and vegetables, but we don't have them that vending. You know, like when the whole neighborhood you out front, you know, selling products and you know, what we call it? We used to get all these things you little kids used to walk through the neighborhood.
Like a flea market?
Flea markets
Yeah.
and things, you know, to bring out the community.
We just
need
had a
to,
flea market, about 3 weeks ago.
where?
In front of our house, in front of our house.
But I'm saying, you know, the big picture
Right,
to bring
yeah.
out the community.
the
We used to
music
go
and
down
food,
Barron
yeah.
Street and find the different things.
I remember that,
Yeah,
yeah.
you remember the Lava
That's my rock.
Yeah. But we was able to, on a Saturday morning, my kids used to just, you know, walk down Barron Street and, you know, meet the people, how you doing, you know, yeah, just different community. It was a different community spirit.
Now, one thing about our block now, like, it's one person, she took on Play Street, and it's the second year that she had it. But everybody in the neighborhood helps out.
Okay.
Well, this year I couldn't help out that much because I had my shoulder done and, well, a lot going on with that. But like she have Play Street, and it's like every kid on the block that didn't know how to ride the bike, from 2 and up, we took all the training wheels off of their bikes.
I tell you,
And
good luck.
tell you, you had to watch out when you come through the block because you don't know who's gonna run you over.
Yeah.
Who had the Band-Aids?
Yeah, they was riding with no training wheels, and
Yeah.
I tell you, if you walking in their riding path, you gonna get ran over. But you know, it was just so cute to know last year when Play Street ended, all the kids around there knew how to ride a bike.
I just wanted to say, my daughter went to grade school at Blankenberg, and her 5th grade teacher taught them how to play the guitar. So that's where, you know, she got another piece of that, Miss T.
Miss T, yeah.
Yeah, she retired,
Okay.
but my daughter still plays the guitar, acoustic and electric guitar, because she got that from there. But the other thing I want to say is, you know, I don't think it's always, if the parent is living from paycheck to paycheck, that denotes whether or not you get arts and culture. Like I had one uniform for the rest of my grade school year and another uniform for high school. But in my house, you had to learn how to play the piano. You had to learn how to do calligraphy. And I went to the City of Philadelphia art camp, and I learned art. And I went to Fletcher Art Memorial. So I think it's just a priority of where you put that as a parent. But if you want your child to be able to migrate into different societies as an adult, you place it in there somewhere so that they have some kind of exposure to it. Even if it's nothing more than, the art museum is free on Sundays. It's just donation. So Sunday, we're going to take a bike ride. We're going to walk to the art museum. We're going to put, we have 50 cents. We're going to put 50 cents in. And we're going to see what these art exhibits are, you know, that's going on here. The art museum is a little bit more than getting in the fountain at midnight in the summertime.
Yeah.
You know, it's this really cool place on the inside. Let's find out what's on the inside. You know, I think the other thing that was crazy, when the museum moved into Memorial Hall, I didn't know that there was a makeshift model of Fairmount Park.
Yeah.
We've been looking at that for years, running in and out of that building, playing in that building, and then I'm like 30-something years old, I get a job. I'm like, oh, this is what this was. This is what the World's Fair looked like.
Right, right.
At that time, we never knew. We were just looking at this cool thing that developers didn't know was down there. We knew. The kids that were supposed to be in the pool next door knew it was there, and they stumbled upon it. So we kind of have stuff in our backyard that we don't know about.
Right.
And until somebody brings it to light, we don't know what we're looking at. And they're like, oh, that's in there.
Like the whispering walls. Huh?
Yeah, that's
A lot of people
that's
that's
wall. And
I know about that.
I take everybody
Yeah,
there,
me too.
and then I give them a little story like, yeah, this was the walls that was in the White House.
Oh, she make up stuff.
Look, when Nixon got impeached. Watergate.
I heard of them.
But you
Yeah,
know,
that's how you
Senator
hear
Kelly,
it.
the woman who's having a big solo show at the museum now, was a little girl in Philadelphia whose mother got her into the art museum because she was interested in art. And then she, because of the racism of this country and the rest of it, she's been living in Paris for 50 years. Now she's come back as like an art hero, an amazing person. And so that really early exposure made
Makes a
something.
difference, yeah.
I gotta say, just from my own experience and listening to all of you, there's a lot of energy in your hands and in your pocketbooks to make things happen. And at the same time, we're all going like, well, the zoo's not paying attention to us, or these people aren't paying attention to them. And I think people that make things happen are always starting in the dirt. It starts, like Mark's a perfect example. Like Ars Nova is his love of music. And he has done whatever you've had to do. I hope it's all legal. To keep that darn thing running, And yeah, you end up asking for help and support, but it comes from that desire. And even the thing on Lake Stravia I talked about, there was one person who was not involved in that. She went around to those people and she said, let's pump this up. Let's get a band on the street. Let's get some barbecue happening here. And she just called people up. She did it herself. And that's, the big institutions could care less about any of us.
That's true.
Whenever they say things and they don't give it, I hear you entirely. Been there, But it's us. And that's what I'm hearing all of you saying right here. You're all doing it.
And you want your neighborhood to be tight-knit, because it's so much happening today. You need to know who your neighbors are, or have an idea of something about them. But it's just...
My neighbors hate me.
But you just need to, have some kind of tight-knit, and mainly when you're growing up with kids, because I know... Like you have people that come and go in the neighborhood. Some is friendly and some is not. But they might get into a situation and that's when they realize they need you. Okay, but you haven't been friendly, so why should I give you my help now? And well, they suck at me, so I'm friendly like that.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm just saying, you just need to know who's in the neighborhood and to be friendly.
So that's really my last question, because we're pretty much out of time, believe it or not. What needs to be done to elevate some of these efforts that you're talking about, some of these individual things that you all are doing? What do we need to do, whether it's...
Communication is the key.
Yeah, so what do we need to do?
Mm-hmm. It's like, you have all these gyms and resources and people don't know that you exist sometimes, so.
We didn't know you existed. So I'm gonna pass around a piece of paper. Everybody gets a paper. And write your name and what you do and what you're gonna do and how can we get together again.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
You're the CEO.
I'm the CEO.
There you go, take it on.
Photo of that.
Cool.
Terrence?
Well, yeah, and I have a pen or a marker.
So this don't have to happen just.
And we'll keep in touch with you all about what we learned from the study and pass it back out to you so that we can discuss if we're getting it right, and then we'll tell you what the next steps will be, the next study will be, or the next project that comes after a study, and try to take everything that you are all saying in hand and put it back out there into the community. So, we can stay and talk a little bit more, but I want to say formally thank you very much for coming and sharing your time and your energy and your mind with us.
You got me.
All right, and eat some more pizza, take it home, all that stuff.
And if y'all need something ran off, we have 2 huge printers.
Okay. How big is huge?
Huge.
It's so huge, it took 4 people to put them down there.